Yellowstone conjures images of thundering bison, erupting geysers, and untouched wilderness. America's first national park is breathtaking, but it's also a sleeping supervolcano where deadly forces simmer just beneath the surface. For millions, it's a place of wonder. For a few, it became their final mistake. This isn't a story about bad luck or tragic accidents. It's a record of human stupidity at its finest. People who ignored warnings, broke the rules, and believed nothing could happen to them. From boiling geysers to deadly canyon selfies, these are the most stupid Yellowstone deaths ever recorded. We begin our journey in the thermal basins, the very heart of Yellowstone's volcanic power. Here, more than 10,000 hot springs, geysers, and fumaroles create a landscape that is both mesmerizing and profoundly dangerous. The vibrant colors are created by thermophils, heat-loving bacteria, but the water they thrive in is often at or near boiling point and can be as acidic as battery acid. The ground itself is a treacherous, brittle shell. The Park Service has built miles of boardwalks for a reason. To step off them is to gamble with your life. Our first 3 victims rolled the dice and lost in the most horrific way imaginable. Case 1. The Man Who Dissolved. On June 7, 2016, 23-year-old Colin Nathaniel Scott was exploring the Norris Geyser Basin with his sister Sable. Colin was the very picture of a bright future. A psychology graduate from Pacific University, he was just weeks away from starting a PhD program. He was intelligent, curious, and adventurous. But on this day, a single, foolish impulse would erase all of that potential. He and his sister were looking for a place to go hot potting, the illegal and profoundly dangerous act of bathing in a thermal spring. Ignoring numerous clear warning signs, they ventured 225 feet off the designated boardwalk into a highly volatile area. Sable filmed with her phone as they searched for the perfect pool, capturing the last moments of her brother's life. When they found a spring, Colin leaned down to test the temperature. In that split second, his foot slipped on the loose, acidic gravel. There was no time to react. He fell headfirst into the churning, boiling water. The official incident report details the desperate and horrific aftermath. His sister tried to pull him out, but he was already being scalded. With no cell service, she had to run to a nearby ranger station for help. When rangers arrived, they could see Colin's body, his head and upper torso, visible in the turbulent, acidic water. But a severe lightning storm swept in, making a recovery attempt too dangerous. They were forced to wait. When they returned the next morning, there was nothing left to recover. The combination of superheated water and extreme acidity had completely dissolved Colin's body overnight. All that remained of the promising young student were his wallet and a pair of flip-flops, a haunting testament to a fatal, foolish quest. Case 2. The Shortcut to Hell. You might think that only clueless tourists make these kinds of fatal errors, but our next case proves that even those who live and work in the park, who know the dangers intimately, can fall victim to a catastrophic lapse in judgment. On the night of August 21, 2000, 20-year-old Sarah Hulfers, a seasonal park employee from South Dakota, was enjoying a night off. She and 2 friends, also park employees, went for a popular local pastime, a late-night swim in the warm waters of the Firehole River. After their swim, they faced a walk back in the pitch-black darkness. Instead of taking the longer, safer route along the designated road, they decided to take a shortcut straight through a thermal field. They were walking on ground that was nothing more than a thin, brittle crust over a network of boiling water channels. Suddenly, the ground gave way. All 3 of them broke through, plunging their legs into scalding, superheated water. Their screams of agony echoed through the dark. All 3 suffered horrific burns, but Sarah's were the most severe. She had sustained 100% third-degree burns from her feet to her waist. She was flown to a specialized burn unit in Salt Lake City, but the damage was irreversible. She died from her injuries. Sarah and her friends knew the rules. They knew the terrain. But in a moment of convenience-seeking stupidity, they gambled their lives for the sake of a few minutes. Their shortcut didn't save them time. It led them straight to a gruesome, agonizing death. Case 3. The pool that kept a souvenir. Our final thermal hell case is perhaps the most mysterious and macabre of all. On August 16, 2022, a park employee at the West Thumb Geyser Basin was doing a routine check when they noticed something strange floating in the abyss pool. This 53-foot deep spring is known for its stunning deep blue water, an almost hypnotic sight. The object was a single shoe. But when the shoe was carefully fished out, a horrifying discovery was made. Part of a human foot was still inside it. An immediate investigation was launched. DNA testing eventually linked the gruesome remains to 70-year-old Il-Hun Rowe from Los Angeles, who had been reported missing by his family. No one saw him fall in. There were no witnesses, no final screams, no calls for help. The only evidence of his final moments was a single shoe, a grotesque souvenir kept by the pool that had consumed him. Investigators believe he likely fell in accidentally on July 31st, more than 2 weeks earlier. For over 16 days, his body was slowly broken down and dissolved by the hot, mineral-rich water, until only a fragment, protected by the tough material of his shoe, remained. It's a chilling, almost surreal image. A man vanishes without a trace, only to be identified by a single, grisly piece of evidence spit out by the very pool that took his life. The Abyss Pool had lived up to its name. Boiled alive, dissolved into nothing, or identified by a single body part. The thermal features of Yellowstone are a gruesome, unforgiving killer. But the park has another, equally stupid way to die, one that requires no boiling water or acidic pools, just a single, careless step. After the break, we're heading to the canyons, where the quest for the perfect photo led to a long, final, fatal fall. Case 4. The One Step Too Far Photo. On June 17, 2006, 52-year-old Deborah Chamberlain from Visalia, California, was at a viewpoint overlooking the Grand Canyon of the Yellowstone. Like millions of tourists before her, she wanted to capture the perfect photograph. But the stone retaining wall, a structure built for the explicit purpose of keeping people from falling to their deaths, was in her way. It was ruining her shot. So she made a decision that sealed her fate. With what witnesses described as casual confidence, she climbed over the wall. Stepping onto the unstable, gravelly ground on the other side, she was now just inches from a 500-foot drop. She raised her camera, but she never got the shot. The loose rock and dirt crumbled beneath her feet. There was no time to scream, no chance to grab onto anything. She simply vanished over the edge. Rescue teams had to rappel down the treacherous, near-vertical canyon walls to reach her. She was pronounced dead at the scene from massive trauma. The photo she wanted so badly was never taken. Her death serves as a stark, brutal lesson. Those walls are not suggestions. They are not there to inconvenience you. They are the last line of defense against a fatal and incredibly stupid mistake. Case 5. The Unsafe Safe Zone. Just over a year later, the canyon claimed another victim in an almost identical, yet subtly different act of photographic folly. On September 28, 2007, Charlotte Harrison, an adult woman from California, was at the Calcite Springs Overlook, also engrossed in taking photos. Unlike Deborah Chamberlain, she didn't climb over any walls. She stayed within the designated viewing area, but she got too close to the edge. Completely absorbed by the view in her camera's viewfinder, she was likely shuffling around, trying to frame the perfect shot. She took one step back too many, Her heel landed on a patch of loose gravel right at the precipice. Her footing gave way instantly, and she too plunged 400 to 500 feet into the canyon below. She died instantly. Her death is a terrifying reminder that even when you follow the rules, you are still in a wild and dangerous place. The edge is the edge. Getting a few inches closer for a photo, even without breaking any explicit rules, can be just as deadly. The safe zone ends where the solid ground does, and gravity doesn't care if you're on the right side of the wall or not. Case 6. The after-work tragedy. This next case is particularly heartbreaking because, like Sarah Hulfers, the victim was a park employee who should have known better. Estefania Lisette Mosquera. Alcivar was a young woman from Ecuador in her early 20s, living the dream of working a summer season in Yellowstone. On the evening of August 26, 2016, she was off duty, hanging out with a group of friends and colleagues at Grandview Point, a popular spot to watch the sunset. It was a relaxed, happy scene, filled with the easy camaraderie of young people enjoying a summer evening. But the group was standing near the canyon's edge. In a moment of distraction, a stumble during laughter, or simple bad luck, Estefania lost her balance. She fell 400 feet into the Grand Canyon of the Yellowstone. Her friends could only watch in horror as she vanished into the twilight. Her death highlights a different, more insidious kind of stupidity: complacency. When you live and work in a place of immense natural danger like Yellowstone, the constant threat can start to feel normal. You let your guard down. For Estefania, that moment of casual relaxation at the edge of a cliff was her last. Her American adventure, full of promise and new experiences, ended in a split second of carelessness. Case 7. The deceptive jacuzzi. Our final case takes us back to the Firehole River, but this time the killer wasn't boiling water. It was the cold, powerful grip of the current. On July 5, 2010, an 18-year-old woman was swimming with her family in a popular section of the river. Warmed by the runoff from nearby thermal features, the river feels like a natural jacuzzi, and on a hot summer day, it attracts crowds of swimmers looking to cool off. But this is not a swimming pool. It is a powerful, wild river with treacherous, unseen dangers. The young woman, a strong swimmer, was suddenly caught in a fierce current and pulled underwater. Her family and other bystanders watched helplessly as she was swept away, vanishing beneath the surface. They were powerless against the river's force. Rescue teams later found her body trapped underwater downstream. Her death is a classic, tragic example of underestimating nature. It looked safe. Everyone was doing it. The scene was idyllic. But the dangers were invisible, lurking just beneath the deceptively calm surface. Treating a wild river like a backyard pool was a fatal and deeply stupid mistake. 7 people, 7 stories, 7 stupid decisions that led to 7 preventable deaths. From the irresistible allure of a forbidden hot spring to the siren call of a perfect perilous photo, these stories all share a common, tragic theme: a fatal disrespect for the raw, untamed power of Yellowstone. The warning signs are not decorations. The boardwalks and retaining walls are not there to ruin your view. They are there to save your life. So the next time you visit a national park or any place of great natural beauty, remember these stories. Remember Colin Scott, who was dissolved by his own curiosity. Remember Deborah Chamberlain, who traded her life for a photo she never took. Admire the beauty, but never, ever forget the danger. The wilderness does not suffer fools gladly, and its beauty often hides a brutal, unforgiving heart. Which of these stories did you find the most shocking? Let us know in the comments below. And if you appreciate our deep dives into these cautionary tales, make sure to like this video and subscribe to Final Moments. Until next time, stay on the path.